Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Dylan, and today we're going to talk about the Rumor Mill. Today's episode is brought to you by our YouTube memberships. If you want to get some behind-the-scenes discussion, stuff going on, and you just want to support this channel, consider going to our YouTube memberships and signing up. The supposed beginning of this is leaked footage showing a post-credit scene in which Superman arrives at Black Adam. Now, I've watched this scene, and honestly, you could too if you wanted to, Dylan. But you are notoriously the one who doesn't even want to watch trailers. So I'm not. So we did. There's nothing in here that makes it so you have to. Nothing at all in that would make me be like, this post credit scene from the looks of things. And I was trying to get confirmation by looking at the old movies. This post credits leak. One is super high quality. Okay, which right off the bat tells me that I don't believe that this is an actual leak.
Okay. So it's not like shaky cam?
No, whatever. It looks like it's like they took it from the movie and slapped it over here. Two, it looks like it's just piecemealed from the scene in Superman where he basically gets up and flies away in the suit. And then it looks like it's a couple of scenes of him walking in front of Black Adam and a bunch of soldiers. That's the scene. Okay. Like, that's all it shows. It doesn't show anything else, which is why I said you could easily watch this and you wouldn't have any spoilers. But you also don't have to watch this. Nothing really happens in it, okay?
Yeah.
The music playing over it, which has caused a huge stir in the Snyder community, is the classic... It sounds to me like the Christopher Reeve song. I don't know if it truly is or if it's a variation on that, but it is not the Snyderverse one. It is one of the classic variations of the Superman song. Andy's wearing the more colorful suit, which kind of implies normal Superman from classic era, not the darker toned suits that were coming up from the Snyderverse era. That's the leaked scene, which caused a stir amongst the community. Now, normally this kind of content, you and I would just ignore and be like, it's probably a fan cut. And if it's not a fan cut, we'll get confirmation on the 21st when the movie comes out, and then we'll talk about it then. Because it does, to me, look like a fan cut. But it could also be a fan cut done by WB to throw it on the end of this movie. Just to be like, Superman, everyone, we got him back. It could be that way. They've done that kind of thing before. The reason why we're talking about this is following the Snyderverse fans arguing about whether or not they brought back Snyderverse or not. Following all of that stuff. The Rock then came out with a video on his Instagram, as The Rock does, hyping up his projects. Now, he doesn't say Superman in the video. But up until now, he's basically been stating that Black Adam's going to be the most powerful person in DC. He's going to be changing the hierarchy of DC, but he's never directly referenced or mentioned a Superman fight as far as I know. He's always alluded to one. Very heavily alluded. But now his tune is changing where he's stating that Black Adam, you're going to see a movie with the most powerful person from Earth. And he looks like he's holding back trying to reveal something.
Yep.
like catching himself from reveal. Obviously, it's all staged. It's like the Tom Holland stuff. I never once thought Tom Holland's dumb enough to be like, guys, could you guess the name of the movie and hold the script up? So I guarantee The Rock's just doing his
that one was
expert
staged for sure.
Yeah. So he's basically alluding to Superman in The Rock's video, which now has people trying to give credence to this supposed leak that has no source, no nothing, and looks like a fan cut. Mm-hmm. What do you think of... So basically, I wanted to talk to you today, Dylan, about the potential return of Henry Cavill, and do you believe that they would do it as a reveal at the end of Black Adam? What do you think? Instead of doing the Flash.
It's possible. Yeah, I think, whatever. We don't know jack about what's going on at any of these studios, especially Warner Brothers at this point.
I know they might get bought out again.
Right. So, and also you have to consider that The Rock is involved in this, and when you were talking about this maybe being a post-credit scene, it was reminding me, I still haven't seen DC League of Super Pets, but I remember we vaguely talked about how the post-credit scene of that is Superman and Batman with their dogs, or it's I'm just gonna read it verbatim so I don't piss people off.
I watched it last week. It's Superman's dog Krypto talking to Black Adam's dog, and then Black Adam arrives. And it's just The Rock playing 80 roles.
Yeah, and from what I remember, there were news articles that came out that were basically just saying that was The Rock's idea. He pushed for that, and the reason that's in the movie is because that was his idea. So Like, we obviously know that he has a lot of pull over there. They're putting a lot of faith in him because he's a very brand
I mean, there's
safe
rumors
person.
that he's going to be the Kevin Feige of the DC universe. I mean,
Yeah, which is absurd.
I on one hand
an
I agree
actor.
with you because he's an actor. He used to be a wrestler. You know, you'd think, oh God, his name is The Rock, even though he's trying to change it over to Dwayne Johnson. But at the same time, he's proven time and time again he knows how to make franchise movies. And like, the part of the problem that
Not the
him
one
and Vin
making
Diesel
it,
have
he's
over at
just
Fast
in
and the
it.
Furious is that he considers himself the guy that fixes franchises.
Sure.
That's literally what he has said, which is what a lot of the problems between him and Vin Diesel came to the point
Yeah.
of. They made a separate franchise for The Rock, which only proves The Rock's point.
Yeah, but that's also like I think that the DC League of Super Pets thing just proves that like he doesn't really like, at least as a fan of comic books and the, like, you know, DC in general, he just seems to know that he is Black Adam, and because of that, Black Adam is very important. So he's going to be everything in the center of it all. And it's like, well, I don't want that because he's not that important.
I mean, I agree, but you could make him that important. Going back to the Fast and the
Sure.
Furious situation, Hobbs, which is his character in that movie franchise. I don't know if you've seen the Fast and the Furious franchise, but his
I've seen
character.
all of them.
Okay, Hobbs was a nobody, and then he ended up getting his own
Yeah.
movie. So Hobbs is just
But
some guy at the beginning of the.
Hobbs
of
is
his
also
introduction.
interesting. I haven't seen the Black Adam movie, but like Black Adam is like, he's kind of a one note character. He's
No, they've done a good
important,
job
I
really
feel.
building him up in the last 10 years.
Sure.
They've really developed him beyond. I'm the evil tyrant
Yeah.
that fights Shazam.
But he's like, I don't know. He's like, Black Adam is interesting to me when you know, when Kahndaq is involved, and it's more of like a Black Adam represents sort of this whole country, and but I haven't read a lot of, you know, admittedly I haven't read a lot of Black Adam comics past the I'm a villain of Shazam
Right.
thing.
I mean, in the recent
But-
years, I will say they've made Black Adam more interesting to me than Shazam. Shazam's still great, but it's still just a kid that
Sure.
turns into an adult, and he seems to have those same problems over and over and over.
Yeah.
He's turning into like the issue I have with Superman solo books, where it just kind of boils down to the same plot normally of like, and here's the villain today that can fight me. Black
Mm-hmm.
Adam's got just a lot more going on in recent years, which has made him more interesting to me.
With that being said, like I think him fighting for Superman coming back is probably a good sign, because that means that, like, you know, he not to say that like Dwayne Johnson has a massive ego about him, which he probably does, but I'll get lynched
Yeah.
for saying that. He clearly like understands at least that people in, you know, when you think of DC, you think of the Trinity, you think of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Superman being the one that, like, I feel like out of those three, Superman has been the one that most people have been like, well, we haven't really gotten Superman.
Yeah.
I know like Snyderverse people love it, whatever. But arguably that you could make a case against all three of them. But Superman especially is like we haven't really seen Superman at all.
We haven't seen
yet.
classic Superman. We saw the Snyderverse one was a lot more of the New 52 launch Superman, which got thrown out like 3 years in. But like that's more what that Superman was.
So I think it's interesting. I don't think I mean, not having seen any of this firsthand, I don't think any of it's true, but that's just because I don't really believe rumors like this, especially when it comes to the
It's so hard to believe them because we literally just had 2 videos discussing are
Yeah.
we gullible or not. And I feel like I might be falling for this one.
yeah. But it's also like when you involve the Snyderverse people who are people who will take like one word that was like misspelled somewhere maybe and they're like, "Oh man, it's all happening again." It's like, guys, calm down.
Just
Take
let
it down
let
a
a
notch.
Snyderverse movie come out, then get excited. Like
Right. Like
that's the boat I'm in. I've
time.
acknowledged I like the Snyderverse. I just want a movie to come out so that I can be like, now I'm excited. It's actually happening.
Yeah. I just want good movies to come out, and you know,
You
I
know,
don't,
dude, sadly at this point, I just want mediocre movies to come out that say DC on them.
that's fair.
I don't even need crazy movies.
I just meant in general.
I'd be happy with mediocre DC movies that have some kind of long form plan and loosely linked together. I'd
Yeah.
be okay with that.
Honestly, at this point, I don't know what happened, because remember, earlier this year when we were talking about the Batman, and the culture around everything before all the buyouts and all the restructuring and Kevin Feige talk was like, hey, maybe we're okay with just getting one-off self-contained movies about these characters that really nail the characters.
Yeah.
And now
Joker I like, even though it's a mixed bag, but
yeah, we've done a complete 180 on that sentiment now, where it's like, well, actually, we want the MCU, but with DC characters. We're back to square one. It's
well,
like,
that's Discovery Plus, because when Discovery Plus came in, they
Yeah.
were like, what is wrong with you? You literally have, and I agree with the sentiment, you have the DC universe. You literally gave up and just said, let's just make a
fumbling it.
Batman and a Joker movie, and don't even link Batman and Joker. Don't even link those two. What? You're
I'm fine with that personally. I don't
No,
care.
but like that, it really just to me screams we've given up. Let's just make a Joker movie and make a Batman movie, and we're not even going
I
to
don't
link
know.
those loosely.
I think this is where you guys did a whole video. I wasn't here for this, but y'all did a whole video about why you don't care about Star Wars anymore, and stuff like that. And that video was very frustrating for me to edit because I disagreed with all of you very passionately.
Don't worry, half the comments did too.
Not specifically about Star Wars, because I also don't really care about most Star Wars things nowadays, but I just don't agree with the sentiment of like a movie or a TV show has to be pushing something forward in lore to be considered worth your time. I don't care. As long as it's good, then I'll watch it. And I think that's what DC should be playing with.
I mean, I kept saying that the reason I think I didn't like it is because nothing's pushing forward. I'm fine with the occasional prequel. I think my overall issue with the Star Wars stuff at the moment is everything is just filling in gaps no one asked. We're not getting anything pushing anything forward. Like we could do a Joker Batman classic movie and then we do a Justice League movie where they team up. Fine, that's cool. But we're not getting that. We're only getting the old stuff. You know,
I think
and just
it's
going
good,
back
then who cares?
and you're not, that's a good point to bring up. But going back to my Joker Batman thing, I'm not even saying they had to have a direct thing. We didn't need Joaquin Phoenix showing up and laughing at Batman. All we needed was like a batarang in the Joker movie and a smile painted on a wall in the Batman movie. I mean, that's all we ever needed. Instead, we got a different Joker. Why? Why do
That's
that?
a different. I agree with why a new Joker in that movie, but that's a different argument. I feel.
Why would, even if Joaquin Phoenix wasn't gonna come back, you could make that Joker look like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and just be like, hey, it's still the same Joker. He just wouldn't come back for the scene. Like, that's all I had to do. That's all you had to do.
I just feel like your why as that not Joaquin Phoenix Joker is the same why as like why would it be? You know, like it doesn't.
Yeah.
The movie is good regardless. So
And I
like,
agree. I'm just looking at this from a Discovery Plus point of view because that's where this whole part of our discussion started.
And that,
like,
yeah.
if you were to hand me DC Comics, if tomorrow DC Comics is like, Benny, comic story knows where it's at. You have the DC Comics. I would not then turn around and go, let's make everything separate. Why are we linking it all? Why do we have a giant universe?
It's all Earth One graphic novels.
Yeah, like that would not be my reaction.
Yeah. It's definitely specifically it's very different in a world where the MCU exists and has existed and
Right.
comics in general like have they've been successful in part due to the fact that they are a shared universe that cares about their lore for better or for worse.
Right.
And I think that is, the problem with DC and Warner Brothers, what they're doing is they can't pick a lane, and every single time something new comes out, it something connects it to something else that happened before, and it just throws more fuel onto the fire. Like Superman showing up in Black Adam, I feel like it might be fun if they pay it off eventually, but currently it's only going to make things worse.
Oh, it
People are gonna
100%
be
is.
even more confused.
Because then the Snyder Bros are going to be like, dude, Snyderverse is back, but they changed the theme song and the costume. And then everyone else is going to be like, but no, that would mean it's a part of the original Justice League. And everyone's going to argue. And then we're going to start with the whole, okay, well, what's in continuity? What's going on now? Is Joker now in? Is Batman now in? Who knows?
We have a similar. It's interesting because we have a similar thing going on in the MCU right now with Daredevil and Kingpin and She-Hulk, where but it's very clear. Like it's not clear, but it's also like, I don't know, just because of how much they've set up and how they're not like explicitly saying and showing scenes from the Netflix shows, that it at least seems like they are just slightly different versions of those characters played by the same actors, and it doesn't really matter if their backstory is canon or not. And I think that works. But it also helps that there's not 40 other different projects where, like, over here we've got, you know, a standalone Daredevil movie, and over here he's played by a different guy. And it's like, there's not all of that, which makes it easier to headcanon stuff.
You're right. I feel like if any movie, any actor is going to push to get Henry Cavill on a post-credit scene and get him back in the DCU, it's going to be The Rock. It's going to be Black Adam. The rumor is that he's going to show up here in a post-credit scene, but he'll actually show up and meet Supergirl in The Flash. So whether or not that happens, I mean, I'll believe that rumor if in 2 weeks Henry Cavill's at the end of Black Adam.
They are doing more reshoots with Ezra Miller, so...
Are they seriously?
Yes. Like, as of, like, last week, I think you might have been in the mountains when they did this, but they're doing more
2 days ago. What?
Yeah.
What? Supposedly, it's already amazing. What are they reshooting?
They came back. They didn't kidnap anyone, so it went well. Like, what are you doing? They're still reshooting this movie. Like, good lord.
What are they if anything, they got to be just reshooting the Michael Keaton stuff. You know, like that's got like just pull that out.
Yeah, post Batgirl. That's crazy. That movie is gonna be insane.
It's turning into Justice League levels of budget to where it just will not recoup its money.
Yeah,
like you got to think every time they do this, it costs more money.
We're in a weird situation where Warner Brothers still doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Titans is getting a 4th season.
I know Doom Patrol just announced yesterday they're back in December.
Yeah, which that's fine. I haven't seen a lot of Doom Patrol. I've seen like the first season, and it was enjoyable. I don't know if it's for me specifically, but I know a lot of people really like that show. So that's fine. But that's another example of like, and I'm sort of being a hypocrite here, but that's another example of them just doing stuff that has no relation to anything, and it's weird, but like it's good, so like I don't care. But like in the case of Titans, which is a show that has like everyone in it, I know people like that show. I think that show is awful. So that to me is like, why are you still making it? Like that's something that's like, when Batgirl is done and you can't put it out, why are you making more of Titans?
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on that one. If at the end of The Flash, everything merges together, everything is one world, that could potentially, because if they fix the Titans, like, okay, the end of season 4, or whatever one we're on now, maybe 5, Titans concludes with the multiverse crashing and everything swaps out so it's in proper continuity. You know what I mean? Like everything starts to line up properly. You swap out actors, you match them up, we do it all. The shows, the movies, it could all link up. We should probably make a whole video on my theory on that one. But but we're going to call it here today because I think we've established that I don't know what to believe at this point from DC.
Nobody does.
I don't. Like, I'm leaning to fan edit. That's where I'm leaning to. Fan edit that people are just excited about the possibility of being real. That's where I'm going to settle on right now. But we could be having a completely different discussion in 2 weeks, Dylan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll see.
Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see our results and see what happens and our reaction to it being in there or not being in there, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. We'll see you next time.